Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebralites. It is me, the Cerebral Diva. I'm back with another episode of In the Loop. And in today's episode of In the Loop, we're going to talk about the thing that everyone and their mama, grandkids, ancestors, puppies everybody seems to be talking about this R. Kelly documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. Now, let me preface this by saying I personally have not seen the documentary. Um, Not only have I not seen the documentary, but I'll be completely transparent in saying I have no intention on watching the documentary. I'm an R. Kelly fan. Um, I'm a fan of the R. Kelly music. Let me say that I don't know the man personally to be a fan of the man, but listen. 12 Play is my album. That is my jam. Will forever be my jam, and I don't see that changing. And that's me separating the art from the artist. Just that for me, asking me to delete R. Kelly's music, to cancel R. Kelly, as people like to do or say in this day and age, it's asking me to erase a part of my life. For many of us, R. Kelly is the soundtrack to our adolescence, to growing up, transitioning into adulthood. You grew up with this music, and so asking me to not listen to the music, it's like, redacting part of my personal history, and I don't feel like I should have to do that. It's like asking me not to watch the Cosby Show. I'm not gonna do that. I like the show. Um, I may not necessarily like Bill Cosby. I don't agree with what Bill Cosby has done, but nonetheless, I still can watch the Cosby Show and separate the two. That's me. If that's not you, that's fine. But I'm just saying, for me, I can do that. So, R. Kelly is like the zeitgeist for a lot of us. Now, having said that, let me say this. One of the main reasons I choose not to watch this documentary is because, frankly, I feel like it's not my business. Um, I feel like I feel conflicted. Like, I feel two ways. As a woman, I want to see a man held accountable for abusing women. Absolutely, 100% without question. I don't think that anyone should be allowed to operate with impunity if you abuse, hurt, harmed, what have you. So, so I have very strong feelings about that. Now, on one hand, being a woman, and on the other hand, being a black woman, you can't live in America, you can't live in the world that we live in, be black, and not see how color and racism can often influence the things that we see. Um, so for me, it's just like, why are we solely focusing on R. Kelly? Why is Bill Cosby the only uh, the only, I should say, prominent person thus far who's been convicted from the quote unquote Me Too movement? We have Harvey Weinstein, we have Les Moonves, we have Kevin Spacey, we have countless other non blacks who have been equally, I don't want to say necessarily maligned, but predatory. But where are those documentaries? Why is the one about R. Kelly being so sensationalized? And so it's hard for me not to see it through that lens. It's hard for me to separate the two, to see him as a predator, which I can see, but not also see how racism may have played a part in the fact that he is the only one that we've seen a documentary made about. So I just refuse to watch it. A, not just because I don't want to. I shouldn't say I don't want to. Like, R. Kelly just really isn't that important for me. He doesn't. He's not someone who has necessarily. The music has definitely impacted my life, but him as a person, I don't know him, so I don't have a feeling or connection to him. So, I don't really care what happens to R. Kelly, if I'm being completely frank with you. Um, but I do care about the optics of what it looks like to have a black man convicted in the court of public opinion and to allow the non-black man to escape unscathed. I don't like the optics of that. And so it makes me dubious about a documentary like Surviving R. Kelly because there's no balance. There's no balance. And that for me is disheartening. So, and you know, even though I haven't seen the documentary, excuse me, there's been so many videos on YouTube, what have you, where people have been talking about the documentary that I feel like I've seen the documentary through the eyes of others, and I guess I don't need the gory details. You know, I'm not the person who necessarily needs to hear all the gory, intimate details of what happened, what he did. Certainly not when it comes to him. Being involved with children. I don't need to hear that. I just you know and I also find it fascinating too that R. Kelly is not an anomaly. Sexual abuse, sexual trauma. You'd be amazed if you talk to the women and a lot of the men in your life, how many people of color um, have suffered sexual abuse or sexual trauma. Men don't talk about it as much as women do, but when I talk to my friends, you know, I mean, they are few and far between that have not been impacted by some sort of sexual abuse or molestation at a very, very early age. So, if we're going to have this conversation about R. Kelly, I think that let that be a catalyst to a greater conversation that we should be having because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out here in these streets. And I find that a lot of times we have people who like to point the fingers, but very rarely do we have people who are introspective. I'll tell you guys, even in my own personal family, I had a uncle who sexually abused a cousin of mine, my closest cousin. I wouldn't even necessarily consider her my cousin. I consider her my sister, and I was the first person that she came to and told that she was being sexually abused by this uncle. Now, when she told me that she was being sexually abused, it was one of those things where you don't know whether to go left or to go right. You know what I mean? Because you hate the act, but there's still love for the person. Like, this is still my uncle. I still love him, but I hate you. You're disgusting. You're a pig. How dare you know what I mean? Like, it's like, how do you rectify the emotions that you feel? Obviously, I'm gonna side with my cousin, but I still have love for my uncle. And let me tell you why I'm talking about this. And the reason I'm talking about this sort of polarization that you can feel, this polarity that you can feel when it comes to um, being abused by someone, is because videos have surfaced recently of R. Kelly's ex-wife Andrea Kelly, and she's sort of dancing to or listening to his music and having a good time, and saying some things that are positive about him, but everything that we've seen from her recently has been her pretty much crying and talking about how terrible of a person he is, how he abused her, and a lot of people are accusing her of being a hypocrite. Now, I say this to that. My grandmother used to tell me, even the biggest liar tells the truth sometimes. And sometimes bad people do good things, and sometimes good people do bad things. Now, R. Kelly can be a sexual predator, but that doesn't mean that that's all he is. We cannot just um, reduce him to this one thing. I mean, I shouldn't say we can, because we can. If she's had a in-depth relationship with this man, an ongoing relationship, a marriage with this man, children with this man, I'm sure every single day was not a bad day. I'm sure every single day was not a day filled with trauma. So, yeah, because she could Munchausen, not Munchausen, yeah, to my child? No, Stockholm syndrome. That's what I was. She could be suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Very often people will find commonality with those who have abused them. So it's not something that is unheard of for the victim of abuse. And besides that, how many women do we know personally in our own lives who have gone back to men who have abused them physically, emotionally, and sexually time and time again, and we don't think twice about it. So I don't think that um, Andrea listening to his music or saying supportive words about the father of her children necessarily discounts her story. I just think that there's layers that she has been exposed to that the rest of us aren't exposed to. So it's easy for her to see the good and the bad in R. Kelly. So again, I say this. I haven't seen the documentary. I'm not here to support R. Kelly. I'm not here to vilify him or um, I just frankly don't care about R. Kelly. Love the music again. Um, I wish all the women who have been abused. Oh, and this is what I want to say before I go. This is what I really want to say. From this day forward, whatever day that documentary aired, the third part of that documentary aired, I don't want to hear from another woman. I don't want to hear from another girl saying that R. Kelly abused her and she had no clue. Because any woman from this day forward who interacts with R. Kelly is not a victim, she is a participant. Because the information is out there. We know who he is. We know what he does. There can be no excuses from this point moving forward. So if you go to R. Kelly and you sign up to be with R. Kelly, I don't need a documentary. I don't need a book. I don't need to hear from you because now we know. We've known since Aaliyah. We've known. And I'm not here to victim blame. I'm just simply saying, as women, make better choices in the men that you choose. Don't be blinded by money. Don't be blinded by fame. Don't be blinded by power. Go get your own so that you don't have to look to an R. Kelly to sort of um, inflate your lifestyle or to expose you to things that you can get for yourself if you try hard enough. So from this day forward, there are no more R. Kelly victims. There are only R. Kelly participants, as far as I'm concerned. Because I wouldn't touch R. Kelly with the hamburger helper's hands. He couldn't watch my kids. He couldn't watch my dog. Like I just wouldn't leave anything with an orifice around this man at this point. So I don't understand how a lot of these women, knowing his history, would even associate with him. I do know how because a lot of people want to be important by association. They want to be exposed to a lifestyle, and a lot of women. And again, this is not me victim blaming, but we're going to have a real conversation about real things. A lot of women are willing to make certain sacrifices because they want to get to a certain place. And if you believe that a man's power influence can escalate you to that level, sometimes women can be blinded by that. It doesn't make the abuse right, but what I'm saying to you is that don't put yourself in harm's way. If you really want it, go out and get it for yourself so that you don't have to be associated or influenced by a man like R. Kelly. Because again, R. Kelly is just the tip of the iceberg. This happens every day, on every level, on every socio-economic scale. And I say this to women, work hard, get your own. Get your own. Be able to make your own choices. Be able to make your own way in this world. Um, I hope that this doesn't come off like I'm in support of R. Kelly because I'm not in support of R. Kelly. I think he's disgusting. I think any person who takes advantage of someone who's weaker or they perceive to be lesser than them is disgusting. I hate a bully. in every way, shape, and form. So I don't want people at all walking away from this video thinking that I'm sitting here in support of R. Kelly. I'm saying I don't sit in support of R. Kelly, but I'm also saying don't put yourself in a position to be a victim. Give yourself options. And the way that you give yourself options is by educating yourself. Educate, get experience, work hard, and create your own way in the world so that you don't have to attach yourself to someone else's success hoping that you will in turn have success by proxy. All right, you guys. So that's it for this video. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel so inclined. As always, in closing, remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.